Hello and welcome back to another episode of Solo No More. I'm your host, Catryce Thompson. And today in this episode, I want to explore the idea of what does it actually mean to have a life that you want to wake up to? Because I really don't think it's what the internet sells us, like those 5 a.m. wake ups and a Pinterest worthy kitchen. Because yes, there are those big luxury things or that are appealing. Don't get me wrong, I really, really want a Dior tote bag. I also want a pair of Louboutins. But I also think that having a life that you want to wake up to isn't just having all these big luxuries or high ticket purchases living in your home. Also this idea of having this Pinterest worthy home, and again, aesthetics are fun, and I would love a more Pinterest worthy home. Everything is so hodgepodge. In my apartment, it feels still recent. I just literally just moved out of our parents' homes because we're still just hodgepodging things together. Our aesthetic is starting to come out. We're starting to figure out what do we want the vibe to be, but it's that thought of is it really worth it to have that Pinterest worthy kitchen if you are too tired to cook in it, or you aren't even someone who really is someone who cooks? Type of deal. What does it actually mean to live a life that you really want to wake up to, and not just one that you feel really excited, or not even, I don't even know if excited is the word, but just one that you're oh yeah, I love showing off my life. And I don't necessarily mean this in a flaunty, braggy way, but being yeah, I love the life that I live. And when I share about it, I feel good. And this is something I've explored so many different times throughout adulthood, and even when I reflect back on my experience in high school and really looking at, that 5-year plan and where did I want to be when I grew up and all that stuff, what things really, really mattered to me and what felt good. And the more that I think about it and the more I really step into the success of my business, having, starting to hit those income goals and stuff, I'm really starting to sit with it again, being what does success mean to me, and what is my dream life, and what makes me feel good? And again, I want a Dior tote. I want a pair of Louboutins. Would it be cool to fly first class all the time? Yeah. Would it be fun to have a sporty car at some point? Of course. But also at the same time, I think that there are so many little luxuries that we look over. I have been starting my weeks with let me take that back. I have been getting more into a habit. Some weeks it doesn't work out because of life, but I've been trying to start my weeks every Monday, because to me, the week starts on Monday and ends on Sunday. In fact, that's how I view the calendar. But trying to start my Mondays with an everything shower. And if you're not sure what an everything shower is, I'm talking full hair care routine. So this is when I'm doing my wash day. I'm doing a full skincare routine. I'm doing the body scrubs. And if I need to shave, I'm shaving. And I'm also sitting in the shower, and typically this is the time that I'm listening to new releases of music. So sometimes I'm literally sitting in the shower, and as I'm letting my deep conditioner sit in my hair and condition my curls, I am listening to the latest Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Lorde, Lady Gaga. I'm listening to this whole album. I'm listening to a whole album. This is a shower, when I'm taking an everything shower, you best believe I'm going to be in there for a minimum of 35 minutes. That seems like a really random time, but legit, 35 minutes. And this is how I'm starting my week. And as I have been starting to do this, I started doing this around my birthday, because I did a full skincare, hair care routine, overhaul. Is that the word? But I went and got new hair care products and skincare products and everything. I was okay, I really, one, prepping for my wedding, I was I want my hair and my skin to look the best that they can be, even though I will say that I've been having little breakouts on my face that have been so irritating, because I'm can we not? That being said, taking that time in the morning, it's so nice, and that's not something that everyone gets, but I can totally see that, because a thought that I had when I think it was week number 4 of doing it in a row, and I was damn, I could not work a 9 to 5, because if I worked a 9 to 5, I would not be able to do this. But this is and this is another thing, is that when I think about, what does At one point in my life, I was like, I want to be a school teacher and I like, have like that 9 to 5 life. And eventually it transitioned into being like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. But I'm like, what are those luxuries? What are those things that like really do make you want to get out of bed? Like, I love getting out of bed on Monday. I love a good Monday. Love a good Monday. My favorite day of the week is probably Thursday, but I love a good Monday because I just love the start of something new, a clean slate. But I am so excited, even more excited when I'm able to take my everything shower because I'm like, this feels so good. And I like start my work week with so much more calmness and feeling way more grounded and regulated versus being like, oh my gosh, I need to wake up and like jump right into work. And I think that routines can be so big and like really looking at what are those things that you can do, routines and rituals. What are those things you can do on a regular, reoccurring basis to like, makes you feel good, makes your life feel full. Also looking at like the luxuries of like, it's so nice to be able to order salmon when we order groceries, like being able to be like, okay, we know that when it's time to order groceries, we are going to get salmon and we're going to cook a really nice dinner. That's also been like so nice. And as I've like been thinking about like, what does it actually mean to live a life and build a life that you actually want to wake up to, I've noticed that I've shifted away in terms of what are the goals that I'm chasing after. Yes, I still want a 10K month. Yes, I would love to have 6-figure years. I mean, like if I'm having 10K months, then of course I'm having 6-figure years if I'm having consistent going on though. I digress. But I think like the real thing is like really looking at how I there are things that I really want. Like I would love to be able to go shopping on a random Tuesday and be able to just drop like $500+, buying new clothes and whatever I might go buy, like probably some Lego sets. Reese and I are getting right like back into building Legos together. But like I'm looking way more at, okay, where can I create space in my life to do more of the things that I want to do? Last year, Reese and I almost every month were going and doing a monthly boozy brunch and then going and painting pottery. Yes, things have been a little bit tighter as we've gotten closer to the wedding and we haven't been able to do that, but I've been looking at like, okay, going into August, because wedding's July, going into August, I want to get back into that. I want to, have money set aside where it's like, yeah, this is for our boozy brunch and then going and doing some pottery together. Well, not making pottery, but painting pottery and doing things like that where I'm like, it's still like, it doesn't just look good, but it feels good. And not just because we're having some mimosas. And I don't know. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in what everyone else is doing on the internet. And I do think that and what the fuck does it even mean to show up authentically on the internet? Because let's be honest, we're all putting on a show to a certain degree. We're only showing the highlights of our life or the pieces that we're like, oh, like it's so curated. And some people are really trying to sell this, a certain type of lifestyle. And this is what success is supposed to look like. And this is what you should, these are the markers of success. You're flying first class, you have like a fancy car or you have fancy bags and you have fancy clothes and you're eating caviar, like fucking gross. I don't think you will not find me eating caviar and oysters. Like I know that those are like symbols of like wealth, or at least that's what the internet has been telling me recently, is that like that's what I need to look towards in terms of like this is what success looks like, is like you're eating caviar and oysters. That's no, not me. But like I think that so often it can get so loud on the internet, and we all tend to get lost in the scroll. Like we're bored and we just pick up our phone and we're scrolling, and then eventually there's that shift where it goes from like, oh, like this is fun and entertaining, to like, oh my god, I feel so behind. I feel like I'm not successful and I'm not like, when is it going to be my time? And we get so in our heads and it becomes the doom scroll. And I think that like we just really need to think about like what does the life that we want to wake up to actually look like? What does that actually encompass? Is it designer bags, or is it having the freedom to take an hour-long shower in the morning? Is it, waking up at let's be fucking for real. Does waking up at 5 a.m. make you a better person? No. The time I personally love like waking up at like 7:30ish. And even then my day doesn't really start at like 7:30. It's like 7:30, my alarm goes off. I get up because my phone sits outside of my bedroom. I get up, I go turn my alarm off. I grab my phone, I get Reese's meds. I take him his meds that he needs to take in the morning. He takes his meds. I scroll on my phone until like 8 o'clock when his alarm goes off. And then from there, he starts waking up a bit more. We'll cuddle in bed for a little bit. But by like 8:15, 8:30ish, that's when we're starting to actually get up and start our day. I like that. I don't think that I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful. I also have seen that when I allow myself to just kind of live and I'm not on this tight, rigid schedule and like, this is what I have to be doing at this time and all this stuff. And these are all the things that I have to do in a day in order to be successful. And I'm just kind of not fully going with the flow, but like there's some structure to it. But when I'm not following all these rigid rules that the internet is trying to sell me, I feel so much better. And I also have seen that I am more successful when I just am truly living life in the way that feels good to me and really basing it off of like what feels good. Not just what looks good, but what feels good. So I'm curious, what is a little luxury in your life, something small, a little routine, or something that's making you feel really good and that's really lighting you up? I want to hear about it. You can DM me on Instagram, or if you are in my free community, The Syndicate, I'll be starting a thread in the Thought Exchange space all about this topic as well. But thanks for tuning in.